let's get a handle on this mug edition. Let's talk about the purpose of a handle. It's there to help you lift a pot with confidence and control. For mugs, it's also there for you to lift the mug when it's full of a hot, tasty beverage. Keep that in mind when you are designing a handle. Can you lift it securely? Is it proportional to the size and the shape of the mug, or is it a teapot or a pitcher? Are your fingers away from the body or buffered somehow? Do you feel like you're in control? Is it sturdy enough when it's full, not just when it's empty? Always remember, the pot you make today is just a study for what you're going to make tomorrow. Take your pots home, use them. Okay, first up, we're going to do a little slab building. Ah! All right, you make a slab. Here I am cutting out a circle. Then make it all nice around the edges because you want the edges nice. You don't want something sharp. Look, I'm putting a circle inside a circle and making it all fabulous. Oh, a square. You can almost make any shape. Explore with thicknesses. Make sure you are rounding over all your edges and decide how you're going to attach. All right, slow down. Here, I have my circle and a circle. I have not just flattened the one side, I actually have kind of splayed it a bit so that I have something to really attach to. And I'm doing it a little more because I need to get a curve in there so it fits nicely on this pot. And seriously, just, mark my spaces. I am using just water and toothbrush and roughing it up, slipping it up as I go. It's just a nice way to go instead of having to have containers of slip all around. I do the handle, and this pot is kind of, very leather hard, so I'm going to make sure that I get some slippy goodness going on. And then I'm putting on. That splayed area is going to help me to be able to push it down and really connect. I'm also kind of going in there and pushing down in the center of my little area, and I will just push it down and then, make sure it's nice and connected. And then, fingers, ribs, whatever you want. I'm just going to get that splayed clay to really smooth out and move on. You're also going to notice I'm not completely 100% going buck crazy with, all the finishing touches, because a lot of times you want to do that when it's leather hard, when the handle has sat under plastic for, a bit with the pot, and then you can go in and really make all your edges nice. But this is, it's not a thin pin, and if you notice, I've kind of tried to run over all my edges so that when I'm holding it, it's not going to hurt. This one is round with a round hole. Oh, and we can do other things. This big circle, little circle, attached in the center, folded, like with an old-timey paper cup. And then here's just a square with a round circle inside and attached. Notice this is thicker than the other ones. That should be, nicer on your finger, especially when it's one. Here we have another slab. Ooh, a little texture. Cutting it out and then, really fast, folding it over. Gently folding it over, not too fast. You want to make sure your clay is wet. And that it's on the thinner side since you're folding it over. Doing it slowly will allow you to, not get too much cracking. So if you notice, I did do it on an angle, and now that I've rolled over the handle for comfort, I am now getting my shape, ear shape. Cutting it to make sure that when I stick it up against the wall of my pot, it keeps the shape I want. Look at that. Just really quick, just to kind of show you attaching. Boom. Slowly. Gonna slip both sides, gonna slip my pot. Yes. With this, since it's textured, the attaching I want you to think about when you're doing it is that I am not going to be, pushing on the outside. I am pushing on the inside, on the underneath. Slippy goodness helps, and just getting in there and pushing it all nice. And then on the bottom, let's just take the stamp that I used to get it on there nicely. Wrap that sucker up to make sure everything gets connected. If you notice, okay, we have C shape, And then the other one is ear shape. A little crack there. But ear shape, just to, kind of keep that in mind as you're putting handles on. Ooh, pulling a handle. This is on the pot. You want a cone. So yeah, when I'm actually rolling it out, I've got a V going on. You don't need a lot of clay. A little more than you need is fine, but you don't want a whole ton. And it also depends on how large your handle's going to be. Also notice, I'm going to sit here a little fast and get this into shape before I even put it onto the pot, so that I'm just pulling a little bit. So the first thing I am making sure it's cone shape. I'm getting rid of any bumps and any weirdness, and then I'm splaying out the top. And I'm going to put it there. I am not going to put it up towards the top, because then the handle will come up and over, and if it's a small thing, it will be poking you in the eye. So I'm going to attach it halfway down, and then it will loop up and down, kind of getting to the top of my mug there. So slippy goodness, and I'm going to stick them together. This one looks like it's growing out of your pot. So you want to make sure that before you even really get started, you are just, taking that splayed edge and really spreading it all over your pot, making it all nice, making it look like it's coming from your pot. I know, fast, slow. So we get it all nice, and then it's going to be about pulling it. So there you are. Looks like a nose. Pull it upside down, because you're going to start to pull it down. Also notice that I am going for the bottom first, getting the bottom, and then working higher and higher up onto my handle. See how it's growing, shaping, getting thinner. I'll show you on the next one off the pot. You'll get a little better look. But I'm bringing it down. As I flip it around, I go from different sides, do a quick little check. It's pretty nice, pretty fabulous. Okay, rough off the bottom. I'm gonna pull it a little more though, because I want it a little bit thinner and a little longer than I need. And look at that baby. And then boom. Keep in mind, you got a leather hard pot and a very wet handle, so you're gonna wanna wrap that up too. Get that all nice. I'm just getting a little, just a little coil in there. I angled it up just to kind of put it in the bottom, so that that too doesn't look like it's just stuck on the bottom, that it is kind of coming from it. And yes, I'll clean that up a little nicer once it's gotten leather hard. But you don't want to bang your pot around when you have something that is kind of wet, that handle's kind of wet. But attention to details, making sure that that bit swoops up nicely, it's filled in nicely, and that'll also be, just good on your hands. Notice how rounded my edges are. Okay, this is pulling off the pot. Like maybe when you have a couple of mugs to do and you want to, get a bunch of handles. Always make more handles than pots, always. First thing, I establish an end that I can hold. Like I just kind of flare it out and I establish an end. And then I'm just gonna sit here and kind of smush, kind of, go after all the more wobbly, weird bits, get it into a railroad spike, why not? And get that going. And then I'm gonna put a little bit of water on my hands. It's not a lot. And I'm gonna go and work the bottom, because you don't wanna have this big like glump on the bottom, because every time you hit that, it's gonna make, your whole thing stretch. So take care of the bottom, and then slowly, like with the other pot, work up higher and higher, and then just kind of pull it. So my hand's in a cup shape, and I'm kind of going where my thumb pad is and where my fingers are. So it's more of a C, even though I might curl my fingers over, but it's more of a C, and I'm going between those two spaces. And that's kind of what's going to allow your clay to, smooth out, to the little bit of friction and elongate. When I'm going on my sides, so, that's kind of nice. I tried, sorry about the background. So I'll do the front and back, and then when I go on my sides, I want to make sure that I'm rounding it because that's going to feel good on your fingers. But also when I'm doing the sides is often when I'm thinning it out. And you know, if it's a really small handle, like I don't have to keep going top to bottom, top to bottom, top to bottom. I might just work on the bottom part to the part, you know, get it to the size that I need, the shape, the thickness. And you also want a little longer than you need because then you can put it on the pot and adjust it. So I just yank that off, put that down, get it in my shape. Like I said, I'll be doing more than one. And I will just do that. And like, so if I have 5 pots, I might make 7 handles. But always remember, start at the bottom. See this one, see how that weird it's getting at the bottom? Every time I hit that bottom, it starts pulling. So if it's really becoming an issue, I will just snap it off. Just, you know, go in with your fingers and be like, that's weird, boom, gone. Keep going. You know, so when you notice that happening, take that time, get rid of it. Even if it's halfway through, just keep going. Just get rid of it and start again. So now it's off the pot. It's a little bit wet. Once again, I'm still going to put it further down, you know, than all the way up at the top because I don't want that poking me in the eye. And I kind of did smush the top edge. I probably could have cut it a little, but so I'm pushing it firm, and then I'm going to sit there and you know, smooth it out, make it all nice. So this one is not going to look like it's like growing from. It's kind of going to look a little pushed on, and a lot of times when I do these I don't smooth it out as much because I like it to look like boom, like here's another piece, and a lot of times I will use a different clay. So I attached it on the bottom, and then I flipped that up, and then I flipped it around with my little signature ribbon handles. It does need to be on the wetter side. You can have this a little bit, you can, you know, pull 5 or 6 handles and then go and trim 3 or 4 mugs, and then they will set up nicely. But with the ribbon, gotta be a little bit more on the wet side. You can wheel throw. Yeah, you can. Okay, I've got my little mound. It's all nice. And I am just making little round, you know, see I'm going in underneath and I'm smoothing that all out, and then I just take my tool. This is great because you can kind of try and get a bunch of thicknesses, a bunch of sizes, or you can try and, you know, make them all the same if you're doing a whole bunch of the same mugs, but experiment. Notice I go in, I roll my finger under, cut it off. I have a whole bunch of different sizes. What's nice about this is you got these nice thicknesses, and they can be for different things. Like this one, smooth out the one side, might have to cut some off, and I can just put it on the side. Or I can just cut it in half and then boom, make it a little bigger and attach those ends, you know, and it's slightly bigger. Maybe for, you know, 2 fingers or 1 big finger. Or I can take one of the bigger rings that I have here, smooth all out the side underneath, and then I can put them on, and then this one I can, you know, that could also, I can move. This one I just kind of cut, and then I just spaced. Be about 2 fingers for a lady, 1 for a man. Yeah, and I just used little hidden texture to get that on there. Shaped nicely. I would actually probably dry this upside down. Okay, so here are all the different types. Look at this all. They all had a little pizzazz, a little personality. You know, all these are pretty short mugs, but I think a good place to start with. This is the tip of the iceberg. Go experiment, take it home, use it, enjoy it. Bye-bye.